The storm came without warning. 1 minute, the dry plains of Ashford County slept beneath a quiet moon. The next, the sky tore open like a wound. Lightning flickered in strange geometric patterns. Too precise, too rhythmic. And 22-year-old Caleb Mercer knew this wasn't an ordinary storm. He'd grown up alone on this farm since his parents vanished in an expedition 5 years ago, leaving him their broken tractor, 3 old barns, and a head full of questions. That night, when his radio burst into static and his animals went wild, instinct drove him toward the fields. And that's when he saw it. A sphere of light, pulsing softly in the wheat, as if the stars had fallen and decided to rest in his pasture. He stepped closer, shielding his face from the heat. The air smelled like iron and rain. Then the sphere cracked, silently, and something slid out. Not something. Someone. A girl. Her skin shimmered faintly like liquid glass, and her hair floated as if underwater. She was small, trembling, naked beneath the storm's blue flash. But what struck Caleb most were her eyes, violet rings glowing like nebulae. She tried to speak, but the sound came out distorted, as if language itself fought her. Finally, she whispered, voice breaking like radio static. "Touch me or I'll disappear." Caleb froze. "What do you mean?" Her outline flickered. For half a second, he could see through her to the field behind her. She was fading. Without thinking, he reached out. His callous hand brushed her shoulder, warm, fragile, and suddenly, the flickering stopped. Her breathing steadied. Her skin glowed faintly where he touched her, and the storm went silent. Middle, the girl who shouldn't exist. Caleb carried her into his barn, wrapping her in an old blanket. When the light outside died, the reality of what he'd done hit him. He had an alien in his barn. She slept, if that's what it was, resting against the hay, faint light still pulsing under her skin like a heartbeat. By morning, she could speak in fragmented English, learning words unnaturally fast. She called herself Erin, though she said it was only a translation approximation. "Where are you from?" he asked. Her gaze drifted to the open slats of the roof. "Farther than your history goes. We came to study to correct a fracture, but something went wrong. My vessel disintegrated." Caleb frowned. "You mean crashed?" "Yes. I tried to stabilize a matter field. The storm was my doing. I failed." Her voice cracked again, and he realized she wasn't just stranded. She was scared. Over the next 2 days, Erin told him fragments. Her species traveled through folded timelines, observing young civilizations. They didn't move through space, so much as probability. But the transition required a stabilizing link, a native biological frequency, to anchor them. Without it, they would fade back out of existence in that reality. That was why she had begged him to touch her. Caleb listened, half believing, half dreaming. The loneliness he'd carried for years began to shift. There was something tender about how she watched him, curious, analytical, but vulnerable in a way that felt deeply human. Each evening, as the horizon bled red, Erin's body dimmed, like a lantern running out of oil. The longer she stayed in his world, the harder it was for her to remain solid. But every time he touched her, brushed her hand, leaned against her shoulder, she stabilized. It was as if his presence tethered her here. "You hold me to this world," she whispered once, tracing his palm. "Then stay," he said quietly. "We'll figure something out." Her answer was a soft, broken smile. "You don't understand. If I stay, your world changes." The world begins to notice. By the 4th night, strange things began to happen. The power grid across 3 counties flickered. Radio towers went silent. Satellites lost alignment. Government drones, ones Caleb didn't even know patrolled this far north, started circling low, scanning fields with invisible light. Erin grew weaker. Her glow now only returned when he touched her. The AI embedded in her mind, a shimmering crystal she called the core, was failing. "They're tracking the field distortion," she said one night, staring through the barn slats. "They'll come for me soon." "Then we hide you." She shook her head. "If they capture me, they'll disassemble the core. It contains things your world isn't ready to know." "Like what?" Erin hesitated. "Timelines. Possible futures. The reason your parents disappeared." Caleb's heart stopped. "What do you know about my parents?" Erin turned to him. "They were chosen by the same anomaly that brought me here." Your family has always been close to the fold. You were supposed to be a bridge, not a bystander. He stared at her, disbelief warring with memory. His father had been an astrophysicist. His mother, a linguist studying patterns in cosmic radio bursts. They'd vanished on a research trip in the desert. And now this alien girl claimed their fate was part of design? He wanted to demand proof, but the tremor in her body stopped him. She was fading again, eyes dimming to gray. Without a word, he reached out and held her. Her form stabilized. The barn glowed faintly around them, straw catching glints of violet light. For a heartbeat, it felt as if the entire world had paused to breathe. The government arrives. By dawn, the silence shattered. A convoy of black vehicles roared at the dirt road, kicking up dust like smoke. Helicopters circled overhead. The U.S. Department of Extraterrestrial Phenomena, a name Caleb had only heard in conspiracy channels, had arrived. He barely had time to react before they surrounded the barn. Loudspeakers blared. Step away from the entity. Hands visible. This is for your safety. Aaron stood behind him, trembling. If they separate us, I'll vanish, she said quietly. He looked at her, then at the soldiers. The logic part of him screamed to surrender. The part that had lost his parents, that had lived 5 years in silence, refused. Stay behind me, he whispered. He raised his hands and stepped forward. I'm alone, he shouted. No one's here. But Aaron's glow betrayed them. Through cracks in the barn door, beams of violet light slipped into the air. The soldiers hesitated, stunned. And then everything exploded into motion. A pulse of white light erupted from Aaron as they tried to drag Caleb away. The ground rippled like liquid. Engines died. Radios melted into silence. She collapsed into his arms, whispering, Caleb, if they take me, your history ends here. You must decide, save me or save them. He didn't understand. What do you mean, ends? Her voice was faint. This timeline collapses without an anchor. You are that anchor. If you let them take me, reality resets to before I arrived. Everyone forgets. Everyone. Even you. He stared at her fading face, then at the agents closing in. He had seconds, and he made his choice. The touch that changed history. Caleb ran. He lifted Aaron into his truck, tearing across the fields as gunfire echoed behind them. But the air shimmered strangely, time itself warping, folding. The core inside Aaron pulsed like a dying star. She touched his cheek weakly. Drive to the storm's heart. The fracture point is still open. The storm's gone. Not gone, hidden. I can sense it. Follow the power lines. He did. The truck rattled, tires shredding over dry earth, until a familiar glow appeared on the horizon. The same geometric lightning, blooming once more. When they reached the field, the light bent around them, forming a dome of shifting colors. The pursuing helicopters halted at the edge, instruments failing one by one. Erin pulled herself upright in the passenger seat. Her voice was barely audible now. This is where I leave. The timeline must close. But if I go alone, the fracture reopens later. You have to choose, Caleb. Touch me and you'll come with me. Let go and I'll disappear, taking this history with me. He stared at her, heart hammering. What happens to Earth if I go? It survives, but differently. Without you, your kind may never discover what I came to teach. With you, we build something new. Tears burned his eyes. The logical part of him screamed impossible. But deep down, he knew. He'd been waiting for this moment all his life. The loneliness, the strange dreams since childhood, the sense that something was unfinished. It all led here. Erin extended her trembling hand. Touch me or I'll disappear. He took it. Light swallowed them both. Ending. The history that never was. When the light faded, the agents found nothing. No truck. No footprints. The wheat fields were untouched, as if no one had ever been there. Official reports labeled it an electromagnetic event. Locals whispered about alien abductions, government cover-ups, and ghosts in the fields. But something changed that night. Within weeks, new signals began appearing in radio telescopes worldwide. Patterns of light resembling language, far more advanced than any human code. Every nation heard them, yet no one could trace the source. Decades later, scientists discovered a repeating signature embedded in those signals. 2 names. C.E-01, Caleb. E Prime, Aaron. The messages contain blueprints, new energy systems, cures of diseases, and a complete map of space-time folds. Humanity leapt forward centuries overnight. Historians called it the Night of Contact. No one ever proved who started it. Some claimed it was alien intervention. Others said it was the awakening of an AI. But in the quiet plains of Ashford County, there's still an old barn that glows faintly on stormy nights. Locals say if you stand there and listen, you can hear a girl's whisper riding the wind. Touch me or I'll disappear. And somewhere beyond the stars, two lights travel together, forever anchoring each other across time. Word count, 1770.